seems, even though we were in the midst of war, that the good people of Northern Ireland still like to enjoy themselves. Who can blame them? Surely everyone should have a little fun from time to time.
There was the Curzon, the Park and the Broadway, all on the same night, so it was a great time for cinemas. And it was a place of warmth because they had huge radiators in the cold days of the winter. And it was a place of inside, there was at least light and entertainment and comfort. Seats were very comfortable. And it was, the cinema, I think, was the major form of entertainment for most people during the war.
Well, there were always big queues for the pictures. And whenever there were an air raid warning come on, they used to flash a wee thing up on the screen telling you that the sirens had sounded.
Well, there was a couple of small dance halls in the town. You had one up the street here, the Palindrome. And of course there was the pubs and a few jars, and we went to the dancing.
They would have had a dance maybe way down to Argery that you heard tell of it, and they would come and picked up a load of girls and took them away for the night. Well, now the girls wouldn't have looked at a local fella. They were out completely.
It was a 3-bay house with what we called the kitchen in the middle. Nowadays, I suppose the kitchen would be called the living room, come dining room, whatever. You cooked there, you lived there throughout the day, and the ceilidhs came in and ceilidhed at night.
In country areas, travelling shows were popular.
Now the show started with about 45 minutes of variety, namely my singing, the guy on the guitar singing and playing, the girl dancing and singing, and of course the boss himself was a comedian. And that was about 45 minutes to an hour. Then there was an interval. During the interval, we set the stage and we did the condensed version of the play. After the play was finished, we had what they used to call a comedy, a farce. In other words, an old sketch of some kind. The halls were usually full. And indeed it was nothing strange to see Mrs. Brown up the street bringing her own chair. She still paid, but she brought her own chair, you know, that type of thing.
Listening to the wireless, reading comics, sports and street games were also common pastimes.
You had an hour for lunch and you came home, and workers' playtime did coincide with that, and we heard these workers singing songs, you can sing along playtime.
That now was a programme that was on. And Henry Hall's Guest Night, I think, was another programme that was on.
This is your storyteller, the man in black. On a Friday or Saturday night he came on and told most awful scary stories.
Well, initially it was the Beano and the Dan, then you progressed to the Rover and the Hotspur and the Adventure and the Wizard and 2 or 3 others.
And so the women would come to the cricket match at Woodvale Ground with their children and with a picnic. And that ground was surrounded every Saturday.
Playing out in the street, games, wonderful entertainment. No television, nothing. Just out all day. Saturday afternoon we would have walked down into Woolworths, and of course in those days Woolworths was so crowded. Well, it was the only place that had toys and books and things for children. Never got anything, but we got looking at them.
In homes and halls, storytelling, singing and poetry provided other types of entertainment.
There'd have been an awful lot of storytelling. A big storytelling would have been ghosts would have been a big one. There was men here. I used to go to bed at night and my heart would be up in my throat. And then they all got their different techniques. One man talked very, very, very low. And then the whole place went silent because everybody was trying to hear what Joe was talking about.
I used to do a little bit of singing, and I was in the church choir, and I was always very keen on elocution, and I used to recite at all the parties in Lisburn. The woman was old and ragged and grey, and bent with the chill of the winter's day. The streets were wet with the recent snow, and the woman's feet were aged and slow.